Episode 79, Shameless Reputation. You're obsessed. Bailu's hands trembled uncontrollably, her face filled with fear as she looked at Su Yimo. I didn't mean to. Sister Yimo, it's all my fault. Please, suggest a solution. As long as it's something I can do, I will definitely do it. Su Yimo naturally disdained talking to someone of this level and just gave a light, dismissive glance at her manager. Zhao Meixin stepped forward, casually tugging the hem of the dress and checking it exaggeratedly. She spoke in an exaggerated tone, the tear is so big, the dress is definitely ruined. How about this, as long as both of you compensate with an identical dress, consider this matter resolved. Liang Biqin, hearing this, looked pleased with herself and pretended to be generous. You too heard it, 1-to-1 compensation. Is this request excessive? Bailu, upon hearing this, trembled, leaving tears streaming down her face on the spot. Liang Biqi knew very well that even if she combined all her savings, she couldn't afford clothes of this standard. And as for this Ningxi beside her, no matter how she put it, she was just a newcomer, yet to start earning money. Even if she made money, the majority would go to the company. How could she afford this? At this moment, Ningxi walked up to Su Yimo, picked up the gorgeous dress, and examined it carefully. Observing the dress, apart from the prominent stain, the tear caused by Bailu's pull had not inflicted much damage. It was nearly invisible to the naked eye, almost needing no repair. Thus, Ningxi muttered thoughtfully, setting aside the stain, this tear is almost unnoticeable. It shouldn't have much impact. Liang Biqin, upon hearing this, immediately wore an unhappy expression and sharply interrupted her. What do you mean by this? Do you think I'm trying to cheat you too? This kind of high-end dress, even the slightest flaw equals ruining it. Moreover, with such extensive pulling, where are you from, not understanding and embarrassing yourself here? Zhao Meixin, looking bored beside the indifferent Su Yimo, also sneered, you're probably just trying to escape responsibility. Unfortunately, everyone saw it. If she hadn't suddenly run like a lunatic and bumped into people, would this dress be damaged? Now you want to turn the tables? After Zhao Meixin finished speaking, she seemed casually to glance at some onlookers nearby. Immediately, others started to speak up. That's right. Meixin's suggestion is not excessive. It's only natural to compensate when you damage someone else's clothes. It's just asking her to compensate with an equivalent piece. It's not excessive at all. She dared to ruin Sister Yimo's new dress. She's got such a good temper, she didn't get angry until now. Someone took advantage of the situation to flatter, isn't that right? Sister Meixin's suggestion is reasonable. It's only fair to compensate for damaging someone's clothes. It's a matter of course. She just needs to compensate with another piece. She's resisting for no reason. How ungrateful. Sister Yimo's new dress is ruined. It's such a distressing thing. I sympathize with her. Someone unintentionally made a remark. This is Chanel's latest limited edition high fashion of the season. It hasn't even hit the market. I feel sorry just looking at it. Speaking of it, even if they pooled their money, they probably couldn't afford it, right? Initially, this person was just speaking casually, but the words unintentionally hinted that Su Yimo might be deliberately making things difficult for others. As a result, Su Yimo's expression had already changed considerably. Realizing his mistake, the person was scared half to death and hastily tried to remedy it. Sister Yimo, contending with such people only lowers your status. Look at them, it's obvious they can't afford it. Since this dress hasn't hit the market yet, why not let them compensate with a similar grade dress? Someone immediately cleverly handed Su Yimo a way out. This won't do. Yimo's dress is a limited edition. Every piece is precious. Hearing this, Su Yimo's expression improved slightly, and she spoke with impatience. Well, same grade is acceptable then. Liang Biqin immediately protested, looking displeased. Cousin. You're too kind. This will only make some shameless people more arrogant. People around naturally echoed. You too, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and thank Sister Yimo. You're so lucky. Sister Yimo is easy to talk to. She didn't make things difficult for you much. Bailu sat on the ground, her expression vacant, unable to say a word. What same grade clothes? They were all the same to her. Definitely unable to compensate. Could it be that today she would be kicked out of the company? Although she had prepared for the worst, at this moment, she still couldn't accept it. She had persisted for a whole decade, and just when there was a glimmer of hope, everything was ruined because of a stained dress. The onlookers, seeing Bailu's desolate expression, All wore expressions of sympathy and firmly decided not to provoke Suyimo. As for Ningxi, it seemed that she might not have a good ending today. Everyone knew that Ningxi had been suppressed miserably at Starlight Entertainment before. She probably didn't have much money on hand. Although she had signed with Shengshi now, she hadn't signed a new drama yet. She only endorsed a small game, and it was unknown if she had received the endorsement fee. Even if she did, it might only be enough to buy a corner of a dress. At this moment, Ningxi was squinting, seemingly lost in thought, listening to the urging voices around her and Bai Lu's sobbing. A hint of shrewdness flashed in her eyes, then she spoke, compensate with a same-grade dress, right? Wait for me a few minutes. I'll go home and get one. Fortunately, the apartment was very close to the company. Upon hearing this, everyone showed expressions of confusion. How casually she talks. Go home and get one? Does Ningxi have a dress of this level? If she does, I'll give my head to you as a toilet. Is she lying? Someone like her, who loves to show off, if she had it, she would have worn it already. Did anyone see her wear such a dress even once? She must be saving face, pretending. Dragging time. Even if she drags it out, can she magically produce a dress out of thin air? What does same grade mean? It has to be similar in all aspects. What grade is Yimo's dress? Even if it hasn't hit the market, considering it's a globally limited edition, there won't be more than 10. Liang Biqin sneered, hee, sure, we'll wait. Just don't disappear forever. If you don't come back, sister won't chase you to the ends of the earth for such a small matter. By then, it'll be Bai Lu alone who has to compensate. This statement clearly aimed to label Ningxi as a shameless person. As long as she dared not to return, she would bear this reputation. If she did come back empty-handed, it would be even more embarrassing. Liang Biqin wasn't concerned at all about whether Ningxi could get a dress. In such a short time, even if Ningxi sought help, it would be too late. Which top-tier luxury brand's high fashion could be bought without a pre-order? Ningxi, you. Bai Lu hesitated, wanting to ask if she really had a solution, but also afraid to ask, fearing that asking would extinguish the last bit of hope. Wait for me, it won't take long, Ningxi hastily told Bai Lu and then gave a seemingly smiling glance at Liang Biqin and the others. Without wasting any more words, she ran straight out of the company's gate. Bai Lu recalled the last look the girl gave before leaving. Even though she knew she shouldn't, she couldn't help but want to believe in her. Not long after Ningxi left, Zhao Anxin felt like she had forgotten something but couldn't recall it. Time passed second by second. Everyone was sticking their heads out to look outside, and Bai Lu's eyes had never left the entrance. After all, she had run out of options, and Ningxi was her only hope. Tisk, Bai Lu, still hoping? Do you really believe she'll come back? Liang Biqin looked at Bai Lu's miserable appearance without any pleasure, throwing more salt on her wounds. Humph, daring to compete with her for a role, this is the outcome. Who would dare to oppose her in the future? Bai Lu's face darkened, and she remained silent. She knew herself that the hope was faint. Everyone has seen it. We've given them a chance, lowered the standards repeatedly. If they still can't compensate, it's not our fault. Liang Biqin said, pausing here. She then deliberately added, if you want to blame someone, blame Ningxi. If it weren't for her, would Yimo's dress be ruined? Zhao Anxin also put on a regretful expression. Originally, it was just a little dirty. It could have been washed. Who knew, sigh. Bai Lu naturally knew that Liang Biqin and Zhao Anxin were intentionally provoking her. She just twitched her lips, not saying anything. Actually, she didn't blame Ningxi. She only blamed her own bad luck. She hadn't become popular for 10 years, and finally, she got a supporting role. Yet, she fell into the abyss so quickly. Can luck be any worse? After waiting for a while, Suyimo's expression had gradually become impatient. Liang Biqin, seeing Suyimo's displeased expression, immediately angrily said, didn't she say a few minutes? Why hasn't she come back yet? Zhao Anxin was also unhappy, really going too far. If she can't compensate, she should say so. She's making us wait so long. Do you know how precious Yimo's time is? Others around them nodded in agreement. We shouldn't have waited if we knew she couldn't bring it. We don't mind, but making Sister Yimo wait like this, she really thinks highly of herself. This person is really shameless. I think if she dares to run away, sister, you shouldn't let her off so easily. Yeah, otherwise, it's too cheap for her. For a while, those opportunistic individuals all started to pick on Ningxi. Seeing the situation settled, Bai Lu's last trace of hope finally extinguished. Unwilling. But even if she was unwilling, what could she do? At this moment, a clear voice suddenly came from the entrance, "I'm back." The girl was still wearing that pink outfit, slightly panting, standing against the light. Ning she. Interesting. She really dares to come back. It seems like she's holding something in her hand. Could it be clothes? Indeed, Ningxi was holding something in her hand, a plastic bag commonly used in supermarkets containing a lump of gray, unidentified material. As Ningxi approached, people gradually saw the plastic bag in her hand. In an instant, laughter erupted at the scene. "Oh, my, this is really killing me. What is Ningxi holding? Did she buy it from a supermarket? Ha ha ha, oh my goodness. No way. Simply unbelievable, what intelligence is this?" Zhao Anxin looked at the crumpled plastic bag in Ningxi's hand and the dusty fabric inside, drawing her own conclusion. This Ningxi, with no other options, actually resorted to such a lame trick. Heh, Ningxi, even if you can't produce it, you can't just casually buy something to deceive people, right? Do you think we're all blind? Zhao Anxin's last sentence emphasized her tone. Liang Biqin burst into laughter. I thought her outfit today was incredibly stupid and wondered about her intelligence. Unexpectedly, her brain is really malfunctioning. How did someone like this enter our Shengshi? If this were to happen outside the company, it would truly disgrace the company's reputation. Ningxi slowly took out a seemingly translucent gray piece of clothing from the plastic bag, appearing nonchalant. Oh, it turns out that anything in a supermarket plastic bag must be something bought from a supermarket. This logic is indeed very intelligent. You? Liang Biqin, who was mocking, suddenly choked, her face turning black. She then gritted her teeth and said, "You, a country bumpkin, really don't understand. Today, I'll teach you a lesson. Real branded clothes could buy your entire outfit with just the packaging bag. What you have isn't bought from a supermarket. Who would casually use this kind of bag for expensive clothes?" Ningxi blinked, wearing a seemingly justified expression. "Me? Is there a problem? Who says it can't be packed like this? You're still arguing here. I see you won't admit your mistakes until you see a coffin." No one in the company dared to argue with her yet. Liang Biqin couldn't tolerate being choked twice, so she immediately glared at the onlookers. In the crowd, someone received Liang Biqin's gaze and rushed over, snatching the gray clothes from Ningxi's hand. Then, they exaggeratedly exclaimed, "What color is this? Like dog poo. So tacky. Whose courage gave you the confidence to take it out? TSK, this soft texture is even worse than a dishcloth. Even if you want to fake it, can't you show some sincerity? We have so many people here. Do you think we're all blind? Does Sister Yimo also have to be blind?" Ningxi coldly watched as those people passed the gray clothing around, her eyes flashing with a hint of cold light. "Be careful, if you ruin it, you can't afford to pay." As soon as her words fell, the scene erupted into a louder burst of laughter. Ha ha ha, she really went through with it. Some people used to say she had good acting skills, and I didn't believe it. Now I finally do. This acting skill could even win an Oscar. At this moment, Bailu quietly approached Ningxi and, with trembling lips, whispered, "Ningxi, forget it, they all know the ropes. You can't deceive them. They all understand? Are you sure?" Ningxi raised an eyebrow, questioning. Whether it was because of Ningxi's exceptional acting skills or her confident appearance, those people gradually felt uneasy seeing her certainty. A female artist holding the clothes unconsciously relaxed her grip and muttered, "This shabby piece of clothing. Even if I'm good at identifying, I can't tell its quality. Where does she get the confidence? What are you still looking at? It must be a scam. Consider us admitting our mistake." Can Sister Meishin and Sister Yimo admit their mistake? That's right. We almost got fooled by her. The female artist who was holding the clothes was about to throw it into the trash can nearby, but before she could, Ningxi suddenly gave her a cold look, causing her to shudder and stop her actions. The female artist bit her lip, checked the clothing again, and then swallowed hard. She handed the clothes to someone nearby and whispered in a low voice, "This seems to be a GE brand clothing." "What GE? It's the brand Sister Yimo likes the most." "Yeah." Many of the people present were fans of Su Yimo, so they knew her preferences well. Hearing this, their faces turned green. Excited, some of them raised their voices, "What? This is the brand Sister Yimo likes the most." "Yeah." As soon as they spoke, the noisy crowd suddenly fell into complete silence. The person who received the clothing looked at the small label and immediately turned pale. In shock, she handed the clothes back to the female artist, saying, "Then why did you give it to me? She didn't know if the clothes had been damaged by those people who were passing it around. If they were damaged, who would be responsible? The female artist held the thin fabric as if holding a hot potato, looking at Su Yimo and the others with an almost crying expression. Sister Yimo, this clothing? Su Yimo furrowed her brows and glanced at Zhao Anxin. What's going on? Seeing that something was amiss, Zhao Anxin hurried over, picking up the clothing. Meishin, this clothing seems to be from GE. Nonsense. Are your eyes blind? GE's clothing is known for its elegance. How could this shabby piece be? Before Zhao Anxin could finish her sentence, she saw the unique and luxurious logo embroidered with golden thread on the collar. This can't be. Liang Biqin also rushed over hastily, took a look at the logo, and said, could it be fake? An imitation? Ningxi really has the audacity to dare to imitate any brand. Even if it's an imitation, at least make it look somewhat convincing. How can this rough fabric be from the brand Sister Yimo likes the most? Zhao Meishin pinched her brow, walked over to Su Yimo, and said, Yimo, take a look at this clothing. Su Yimo casually lifted it with one finger and glanced at it, but in the next second, her expression changed. This seemingly inconspicuous piece of clothing. It was actually a GE design.